income replacement is not just for a certain community, it's for all communities. We all need to be educated about income replacement.
That's true. That's right. It's not just for people who are older or for those who, are disabled or might have gotten an unexpected injury, but it's also for people who, they're married. They have one spouse who isn't the breadwinner. Say, God forbid, they were to become injured. They injured their back at the gym. Something simple, they strain their back. They're unable to now go into the kitchen to cook, to wash the laundry for the children. Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that if the other spouse has to now stay home to provide those services for the family? That income needs to be replaced because it can't be a situation where there's no income coming into the home at all. Let's also think about the situation where if someone has an aging parent and they don't want to put their aging parent into a home because maybe they have their capabilities are degenerating, right? But they want to spend that time with their loved one, for as long as they can, right? Your abilities to work and to be present at your current job may change. Maybe you need to shift to working from home. Maybe working from home isn't going to work either. They need more hands-on care. So now you got to change careers altogether, or you're in a season of your life where you can't work at all because you need to be there and paying attention to that loved one. You still need income coming in because your bills aren't going to stop. Your need to eat isn't going to diminish. You still need gas to get to and fro. The demands of life and the expenses of life are still going to continually be there and pressing. And you don't want to have that stress on top of, also trying to be there for loved ones and also handling, that life-changing circumstance that's now, at the forefront of life.
Income replacement is necessary for all of us because we're strong, we're healthy, thank God.
For now,
thank God. Now, but again, just like what you said, our health does, diminish at some point, and
we'd be silly to think that we're always going to be able to do everything we've always been able to do.
And families really need to be empowered with this philosophy of understanding income replacement.
That's right.
Because income replacement is not a want, it is a need.
Oh my goodness. That brings me to the situation I had a few years back. I had to be rushed into hospital for emergency surgery. All of a sudden, I had the gallstones and there was a blockage. And I was in a lot of pain, and I couldn't even sit upright when I was in that type of pain. So I went down to the hospital. They told me you need to be rushed in for emergency surgery. And we didn't know when I was going to get in for surgery, and we didn't know how long it was going to take me to recover. They said about 6 weeks. I'm self-employed. So in the absence of some type of coverage that would be paying me while I was in that recovery mode and while I was off from work, I would be stuck trying to figure out, well, what's going to happen with the family if there was no other, breadwinner in the family.
Yeah.
And there's many people who that is their circumstance.
And even when there's a breadwinner in the family, that still depletes your emergency savings.
Yes, it does.
Because yes, there's another breadwinner, but I'm pretty sure that other breadwinner has to stop work at some point to help with the children, to help with taking care of the other spouse.
Or they have to hire a nanny, someone who's going to come in and help do the tasks that that person who has been injured or has become disabled or is ill they're now not able to do anymore. And that's going to take out of, whether it's their savings or whether it was the bill money. It has to come from somewhere, right?
And this is where you leverage insurance for income replacement. If you know within yourself that you don't have 6 months to a year savings, because that's real financial independence, when you actually have 6 months to a year savings that can take care of your bills, or even longer.
Yeah,
I think 6 months to a year is not
short.
It's still short, but I mean that's
because you want to heal properly. You don't want to rush back to work so fast that now you become even more injured because you didn't heal properly. I feel we've all made that mistake at some point or another.
And that's because we didn't have the income replacement set up in place.
That's right.
And so we need to continuously empower families one by one and just have this conversation. Like, it's conversations that we're having in 2026. Because I always tell everybody, you are one conversation away from your breakthrough.
Yeah.
It's not that the blessing is not there. It's just you haven't had that conversation, which is an encounter.
Which gives you the clarity that you need.
And the direction.
That's right.
And with our finances, believe it or not, clarity and direction is what you need.
Come on now, the Bible says my people perish due to a lack of knowledge. And when you don't know, you don't have the vision and you can't see the bigger picture.
And there's no plan.
That's right.
And then if there's no plan, there's no action. And so this is why we are just working so hard to continue to do this work of empowering these families all across Canada and the United States. Because there are, when I think about the population here in Canada, there's over 45 million people here that's living in Canada. New immigrants are coming into the country. In the United States, over 300 million people are in that country.
Wow.
And new immigrants are coming in every single year.
Every single year.
So, I mean, they come in. I'm an immigrant. I came from Jamaica, and my family had no financial education in regards to income replacement and income protection and setting goals. And
sure.
But when we think about it, we should understand the fight. And even though we went through the Canadian educational system here, we still did not get the education that we need,
the financial education to make sure that we are prepared from top to bottom, left, right, for unseen circumstances. It's true. We are taught how to study hard, how to work hard, how to go out and get that good job, and make sure you show up to work on time. But it's the other side of what could happen, and a lot of people, it's daunting. They don't want to think about that stuff. But friend, it's not something you don't want to think about when you think about it and put preparations in place for it, so that if it happens, you don't have to have a headache with, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do now? Because if you think about it and make preparations, it's not a what are we gonna do now, it's thank God.
Thank God. Like, this is there. And I've had people who's gotten hurt and there was something there to take care, and it's just like, I felt great being able to deliver that claim, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a great feeling, and it's a great feeling just to know that you have income replacement. I can use myself as an example. I did my financial needs analysis and a couple of months ago, and I looked over it and I said, wow, I don't have accidental death and dismemberment. If I pass away in a car accident, or if I have to stay in the hospital for a certain period of time, I don't have coverage for that. And right away I called my husband and I said, babes, we're always on the road, we're traveling back and forth here and there, we need to have this income replacement. If you get in a car accident, I get in a car accident, we cannot depend on our car insurance companies. There's people still in courts right now.
Our insurance protects the car, but what about the person driving the vehicle?
What about the person driving? You still have to live a life after that.
And you have to think about those who are going to survive you as well. What quality of life are they going to be able to have? What things preparations are we putting in place? And even what you said, you said you did your financial needs analysis and you reviewed what you had. It's so important to do those reviews. It's so important to take a look over what you had, because what you might have had last year versus even 5 or 10 years ago, you might have had more children, you might have changed where you lived, and now you have a larger estate. Perhaps you have more responsibilities. What you had at that time might not be sufficient, or you might have more than what you need. You never know. And it's always good to do those reviews, because you want to make sure that you are prepared. You want to plan to succeed. Because if you don't plan to succeed, you fail to plan, then plan to fail.
Yeah. And that's what's happening. A lot of failing to plan is happening. And then when the inevitable happens, it's just like, okay, GoFundMe, or it's just, I mean.
And it's a lot of people I'm seeing who should have had successful lifestyles. It was the other day I saw somebody, I think they were like a hairstylist or, something of that nature. They had a reputable career, but they still had a GoFundMe that their loved ones had in place